when we are so fixated on the mistakes, the failure and everything, yes, we can carry that all through the years and all the future decisions that we make. But if we realize that it's a failure only if you don't take something from it, you don't learn, and then you repeat it, yes, I consider that a failure.
Please subscribe and turn on your notifications to stay tuned to the latest updates at the Powder Room Talk.
But I think like in your situation, I think I know some of I know some people who've been in the same situation and they went on with it because disappointing other people was worse than living with the wrong decision for the rest of their lives. And seeing that in my friends and that they went like in some particular friends and that they went through with it, it was like such a disaster. And now they're either stuck with it because culturally they will never, and they will never disappoint people basically, so they will still stay stuck in it. Or it gets worse and then you have like another divorce and it's like your first divorce, and if you keep going like that, like it might be another divorce. And and so there might be a lot of different reasons why, right? Like either you're not convinced that what you're doing is right or wrong.
This is a fear.
Or you're putting other people's expectations or their possible disappointment is more important than your own life, right? And I think it's a self-worth problem maybe. And also like a people-pleasing problem, right?
I myself consider I consider myself to be a people pleaser, like a chronic people pleaser. And I think culturally we are also kind of conditioned to not, especially not disappoint our elders, right? Asians, it's very hard for us to like separate ourselves or make life decisions separating ourselves from our family or our elderlies. But for me, when it comes to like major life decisions such as ending my marriage and becoming a single mom, it was just too important for me to like care about what other people think, right? Because I was just at that time truly unhappy and very sure that if I had continued, not only that I would live a miserable life, but it will also impact my daughter in a very negative way, and that alone is enough for me to make that decision. So for me, I think my struggle the first few years of that was not other people's opinions, but it was my own. So I think I saw that the ending of the marriage as a failure, so it was more me. So I saw it as a failure. I went around feeling really terrible about it, not because people judge me. Maybe they did, but I didn't really hear about it. Nobody really. I didn't really hear, or I didn't really choose to hear it. But it was my own voice. It was my own self-blame and all the negative thoughts that were just weighing down on me, until a few years I realized that I am actually in a better place. I just have to be aware that yes, in a way it was we made mistakes. I mean, both my ex and myself, but we can learn from it. I can learn from it. I'm a much better person, I think, and I couldn't have been where I am right now without all those mistakes, right? And we are actually we're friends. We are co-parenting our daughter, so we are still in a very good relationship, probably better. Wow. So we really work hand in hand in like raising our daughter. My daughter has a great relationship with her father, and he has a new family, and I have a good relationship with his new family. So,
what a blessing! I don't think everyone has the same experience.
Yeah, unfortunately, right? You're right. Yeah, but I think when we are so fixated on the mistakes, the failure and everything, yes, it can we can carry that all through the years and all the future decisions that we make. But if we realize that it's a failure only if you don't take something from it, you don't learn, and then you repeat it, yes, I consider that a failure. But if you realize what it is that you did wrong, and you learn and you become a better person after that, then it's just things that you went through in life.
And I almost felt like maybe it's because of your mindset or the way that you looked at the perspective of your situation. You were able to be it opened up something, you're a much better person inside, so that even as you're co-parenting with your ex-husband and his current new family, you were able to have good relationships. It's because you're not carrying, I suppose you didn't take any of the negative energy from that failure and from that whatever other people's opinions, and then you bring it into your new season or this new place that you're at, and so you're actually able to be at a very good state in terms of relating and in terms of facing whatever is the new situation and the new circumstances, because your frame of mind is in such a healthy place. I mean, that's really admirable. And what I think that you could arrive at such a healthy frame of mind was also because you did not choose to be victimized by what had happened to you. And I think that's like girl power. That's really girl power. That like takes strength from the inside.
And I think it takes a really healthy attitude also to deal with the hard, tough times in life and decisions that we made and perceived failures, right? And I was wondering, like, what do you think are like other attitudes that you need to have? Like, what are the kind of attitudes you need to have to transition into your next season of life without things holding you back? Like, what would that be for you?
That's a very interesting question.
Yeah.
So, I never really thought about attitude that's needed to acquire, for you to move into new season. I remember there's one quote from Stephen Furtick. He said that do not judge yesterday's decision based on your today's wisdom. So when I listen to that, it's kind of like sink into me, because a lot of people are so afraid to move into a new season, or maybe they've done it before and they regret it because they judge like, oh, if only I did that before, or if only. So it was like, it's very difficult for them to let go.
Right.
It was very difficult for them to accept.
How long did it actually take you to get the right attitude after you were going through that failure, right? Like, how long did it take you to arrive at that place? I mean, it's not like, oh, the thing happens and switch. I'm gonna have the right attitude for this.
It's like, call it off, and my mind's in the right place, right?
Switch it off. No, it didn't happen. But I cannot say like certain months, certain years. It's different for every person.
Yeah.
But what about you?
For me, it took me quite a while. It took me until I really entered a new season. It took me probably 6 years. It's a long time.
6 years.
Wow.
I'm not saying in those 6 years I was dwelling in my mistake. No, I didn't. No, I stuck in that situation.
You got stuck for 6 years, basically.
I got stuck for 6 years.
Not moving on in your life relationally.
Yes, I move on from him, for sure.
Yes.
But I couldn't move on from the mistake that I did, the failure that I did, or the feeling that I failed for the mistake that I had. So it took me 6 years until I realized that, oh, I think this is a time for me to move on. Move on as in not into a new relationship, because it's not only about relationship. It could be your job. It could be your business. It could be sometimes people that are close to you, or your friendship. There are things in your life that I don't think this is right for me. I don't think this will serve me right for my new season. So I need to move to a new season in my life. It took me quite some time, actually.
What about you, Affi? Like, how long did it take you to? How long did it take you to find the right attitude, and what was the change that happened internally?
Right. I would say I cannot really keep track on how many years it took me, because I think it's like a process, right? You don't wake up one day and say, oh, or oh, I got it.
Switch.
It's not like that.
And once you find it, everything's okay, right?
I think it's like a
journey.
Or an accumulation of like experiences, things you hear from other people, conversations you have with yourself. Those things that kind of taught me a lesson, and I feel like my attitude now towards life in general is that I see myself and the things that I do is like a work in progress. So I feel like I'm always moving towards something better, hopefully something something better. So I'm not that set on like reaching perfection in anything. I know it's an unpopular mindset because I feel like we are living in an era where people tend to be more on the perfectionist side, right? People want to get things perfect and right all the time. I'm not like that. So I don't strive for perfection, but I feel like I want to do better. So I feel like it's okay I don't get it perfect now, but I know I can do better next time. So it's always like that. So I have this, I think people call it
so
growth
healthy.
mindset,
So
right?
Yeah, it's a growth mindset.
a
A growth
mindset,
mindset,
for
because I
sure.
feel like if you I don't know, I feel like it's just easier for me to move through life that way. So like you said, we have seasons in life, and it's not so easy because changes are hard, right? But I think if we look at our life as that, it's like a process, it's like a journey where we always strive to be a better person, better mother, better wife, or better business owner, or what have you. I think it's just easier to move that rather seamlessly than resisting those changes.
Yeah, because I think it's difficult, right? If everybody wish, like you mentioned, you have a switch that you can just say, now it's done.
Yeah.
Let's move.
Like for me, I feel like I'm moving into a new season, not from a mistake, but from, this is done. Like my kids are like not toddlers anymore, right? Like now I can start, focusing on my work again, and it would be easy to have like just a switch back from mom mode to back to work mode.
Yeah.
And arrive there. It is difficult right now. Like it's like it's so hard, and also you cannot. I mean, it is just also connected with a lot of fear, right? Like for me personally, switching, like turning into a new season and knowing there's new things to come, and like now the life that I've built, it was good, and I think I've done right, but now it's time to grow into a different area. It comes with so much fear because you're stepping into the unknown, and you don't know what you're capable of anymore, or maybe even if you have been capable of it before, will you be able to do that with kids, with the husband now? Like for me, right? Like, will I be able to manage it the same way? Will I have the capacity? Will I have the right mindset still? Can I physically handle it? Like, there's so many fears attached and self-doubts, and so for me, I'm still struggling with getting into the new season. But since about like 1.5 years ago, I started to tell myself I'm gonna do a lot of things now, little and bigger things that I'm afraid of, just because I want to get in the habit of facing fears.
Yeah,
so I started like riding the motorbike in Bali, which it's scary, but
that's
it's
gutsy.
well, for some people it is, but there's so many women in Bali driving a motorcycle.
Right,
But for
right.
me, it was like, it's scary, but I think I would like it, So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna face that fear. And then also in Bali, but it was another, like a year later, I looked at the surfers and I thought, wow, they're so dedicated. They have so much joy doing what they're doing. I'll never know what they're feeling. What is that joy? And the moment I realized, like, wow, there's another thing that I would really like to know how it feels, and it's the fear holding me back, like fear of accidents, having the board in my face, the ocean. Like, I mean, it's real things, and it's real dangers. But other people do it, and they seem to be fine. And so then looking at the business world, other people are out there in business world, and they're also surviving, right? So why should I not dare it? Why should I not do it? And so I'm gonna do it afraid. Just like I did the motorbike, I did the surfing, a few other things, but I'm just gonna do it afraid. And if I fail, well, then I hopefully learn something from it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody, let's say business, right? I don't know. Now I'm in my third business. I don't think I've ever entered a business where I know everything.
Yes,
you know,
agree.
I don't.
Like
It's
work is the same,
Yes, I mean, half the time I'm just figuring out as I go. So I think that there really shouldn't be. I mean, fear should definitely not be holding us back.
I think comparison is another thing, right?
You compare someone's 10 with your 0.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm really loving this like little individual sharings in between because as you were all sharing your stories, I really observe it's like that idea of having different prisons inside our mind, and one that I really heard out of it is that we are afraid of other people's opinions because we don't know what's on the other side, and we don't know if we're up for the challenge and if we could actually manage it, and if we could or if we couldn't, there would be opinions at the other end of the other side, and what if those weren't good constructive ones, but they were the ones that we know could actually tear us down. And a second prison that actually came up in my head as we were sharing here was, it's very subtle, but it's that prison of comfort zone.